The Mix 88.5 Property Update, brought to you by the award-winning Tudor Group, developers of Tudor Villas and in the final stages of Tudor Court Condominium, Pratham Nack Soi 2. The Tudor Group, Thai lifestyle, European standards.
Welcome to this week's Mix 88.5 Property Update, as always with my guest Tim Gladwin and special guest in the studio this week from Raymond Land.
The Mix 88.5 Property Update.
So welcome to another Wednesday's Property Update at Mix 88.5. As always in the studio with us, Tim Gladwin from Salmons, Thailand. If you want to get hold of Tim and find out anything else that we talk about in the show, 0382522588 is the office number, and patia@salmonsthailand.com is the email address. Tim, as always, good afternoon. Nice to see you again.
Afternoon, Russell.
So how has the week been? It's leading up to Christmas, it's leading up to New Year, and people are doing other things rather than getting out and buying property.
Yeah, well, to an extent, I suppose. I mean, it's probably fair to say that the last week has been a little bit quieter than preceding weeks, the last month or so, and obviously, as we've discussed in recent weeks here, that there's been a lot of people down from Bangkok. I think the vast majority of those people have now returned. That said, obviously the past weekend was a holiday weekend here, and as one would normally anticipate in such a weekend, a lot of people were down.
It was busy occasionally. I did go out occasionally and go, well, this is the obviously the holiday traffic we're getting caught into now.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose there might be an argument to say that some people, having spent much of the previous month down here with the floods, perhaps weren't ready to come straight back, but nevertheless it was busy, and I think this can be viewed in a number of ways, not least that, as we've said on many occasions, Pattaya is becoming a great deal more popular these days with Bangkok Thais in particular, and obviously a holiday weekend gives them an opportunity to come down here for a few days, rest and relaxation, and obviously perhaps even forget about the clean-up that's now going on in Bangkok.
Yes, I think that's one of the things you would want to forget about these days, isn't it? And you're going to expect to be a little bit quiet for the next couple of weeks before getting into the new year and lots more viewings and possible sales at that time?
Yes, certainly what we see traditionally is December becomes a little bit quieter. I think you get more people coming here, obviously in lead up to Christmas. Gradually the numbers increase, the numbers of tourists, but prior to Christmas most people seem to be focused on holidaying and having a good time, celebrating, getting ready for the festive period, and why not? Whether that's eating your Christmas dinner or just drinking lots of beer. It's not traditionally quite as busy a time from a real estate perspective, and so it wouldn't come as any surprise if we see 2 or 3 slightly quieter weeks now. Then once the festive period is over, that's when normally business gets much busier again.
Okay, so people know what they've got to spend come New Year. Now, over the last couple of weeks, we've talked about some of the launches in town. We've talked about the launch of Raymond Land's new development, which is up on the Pattaya side of Pratham Nack Hill. We talked about it quite extensively last week, and we did promise to get someone in from Raymond Land to give us some more information on that, which we've done this week. And we say good morning, good afternoon to Pioras.
Good afternoon.
Hopefully I've said that right.
You have.
Okay. Now, you're officially launching it. Is it this week, next week?
Well, we're actually having 2 launches. One is on the 10th and 11th of December. It's here in the Hilton Hotel, the new Hilton Hotel by the Central Mall. And then the second launch is the following week in Bangkok, 17th, 18th, in the
I'm not sure. I'm going to the Pattaya one.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure.
The Renaissance, and that is 17th, 18th.
Okay. Sorry, Tim, you've gone. I'm just fiddling with stuff at the moment.
in the nicest possible way, I'm sure. But actually, I'm not coming along myself to the one in Pattaya. What have we got planned for that?
Well, we've already got probably 300 people registered for the launch. Okay, so it's going to be a big event, and we've got special pricing. As with most of our launches, people can buy with a discount, with special payment terms, which are only valid or available up until the end, for bookings up until the end of the year. So I'm hoping for a busy December. I know you mentioned earlier on that it's going to be a little bit quiet. I'm doing everything possible to avoid that. We like to launch with successfully, obviously, and the more sales we have in this opening period is the better. Things we've actually already launched to existing owners and staff,
yes.
and Raymond Land staff. We always do that before every big launch, and sales have gone very, very well indeed. We've got about 150 million baht already down, okay, plus quite a lot more in terms of reservations. So far so good. We knew the product would do well, but the initial event that we did for owners last week has proved to be very successful. So that validates really the research, the extensive research we've done on the product, and the pricing and the sizes and the location and so forth.
If people want to go along to launch either in Pattaya or in Bangkok, what do they need to do to register?
Very easy. They can either phone or better still, everything's online now. They can go to Unix, that's UNIXX, condo.com, and follow the steps there. It's very straightforward. You've got a buyer's guide explaining all about the product, basic information on the product, and you bring that along. You'll print out an email that you receive, take it along to the event, and you'll get a queue number, and a sales team and marketing team will be there to help and to obviously help you make a booking.
Indeed. And how about Bangkok? Similar interest in the Bangkok event?
Very similar. Not quite as busy as Pattaya. It's still 2 weeks away. But it's the last time we launched Zaire, which was around this time last year, we only did an event in Bangkok, and it went very, very well. But a lot of people said, look, you're launching in Pattaya, why don't you do an event down here? Which, of course, we're flipping it this time and doing it down here. And but yeah, it's still a lot of reservations, a lot of bookings for people to come into the launch event in Bangkok. And but we need more people. So if you're in Bangkok, or if you know, we'll be in Bangkok next week, please go on to unixcondo.com and register for the event.
Right. This. Obviously, I read previously there's been some news about the project. There was mention of it being a so-called hip brand. Is that?
Yeah, I'm not really sure where the hip brand thing came from. Obviously, somebody said it. Hip, it's a new brand, but the brand is Unix, and Unix comes from unique. It's unique in the sense that we have the ability through a very seasoned development team to deliver a product which is a Raymond Land product in terms of quality, in terms of finish, in terms of standards, yet at a very affordable price. And that comes not only from obviously good engineering, and good supply management and so forth, but also in terms of building a very efficient size unit. And we're able to deliver a 34.5 square meter one bedroom, which feels very, very spacious indeed. And, and of course, with again, the reason most people are buying these units as a second home, so there's no need for larger spaces, which were the hallmark, or are still a hallmark of some of our other brands, for example, North Point and Zaire.
Yeah, I mean, I must say, this is something we've discussed on a number of occasions. This product that has become extremely popular in Pattaya over the last 2 to 3 years, the relatively, or perhaps smaller than traditional one-bedroom units, typically the 34, 35, 36 square meter units, and how well they've gone, but also when you actually go into them, how surprisingly large they are. You get it in your mind that they're going to be cramped and tiny, but when you go in, if that space is used efficiently, if the engineering is done properly, then it really is quite surprising how spacious they are. Certainly that's something that's always struck me when I've been in them. How is the pricing? What's the price range for the...
That's probably one of the most interesting things about this project. Probably for the first time since Raymond Land has launched a project, clients can buy starting at just 40,000 baht per square meter. Now that's relatively, that's inexpensive, okay, for a Raymond Land product, and I think it's inexpensive in general for a project even down here in Pattaya. So our starting prices for a studio started at 880,000 baht, and I believe the most expensive unit in the project, which is a fantastic 2-bedroom unit overlooking Pattaya Bay, is under 5 million baht.
Right.
So a great opportunity for either first-time buyers or people buying for investment, because I mean, the rental market, generating a 10%, even 15% yield return on those units is not too difficult.
No, it's definitely within the realms of possibility. I think sometimes
I'd be a more positive than that.
I think the only qualification I ever give when I give people figures is that's assuming that you rent it out all year, every year.
Yes,
and that's not always the case. It is in some instances, but that's the way I sometimes qualify it. Nevertheless, I mean, as you know, I've bought one myself, so.
And you're a smart man.
Well, I like to think I'm money in a bank. So
yeah, of course. I mean, a bank.
What do you get? Nothing these days, is it?
2-3%. Okay,
yeah.
You're lucky. And so it definitely makes for a better investment of capital appreciation, rental return.
Having the units like that, the smaller units, having more budget units, was that a conscious decision from Raymond Land to move away from some of the more luxurious brands that you've got, like the North Point? Let's go into a different market.
Yeah, we're not. I mean, I think moving away is maybe the wrong term. Okay, we're
moving into
we're diversifying into a wider audience in terms of our product. We've been, as you know, we've been very successful with the higher end products, North Point, 185 Rigid Amory, River. We then launched Desire, which is sort of a mid-tier, higher mid-tier product. Okay, although the location is of course exceptional. Okay, being right on the beach and right next to North Point. And we saw then the opportunity for widening the audience. And as we were selling Desire, we were coming across buyers who said, 4 million, 5 million, okay, yeah, it's good, but can you do 3? Can you do something for 3? And we sat down and we said, okay, yeah, let's do something for 3 million. Let's do something for 2 million.
Okay.
And, by widening the audience, okay, that's of course gives us a lot more stability when things are great with the foreign buyers buying expensive high-end properties. Okay, we're there for them. When the market is not so strong, okay, we can rely on the immense and Thai market, okay, from Bangkok. So we have more opportunity. That gives us, of course, more stability and more growth for our shareholders and our business.
I looked at one of the things that we talked about last week was the location of units. Is because at Wong Mart you should have a car if you're going to be living out at North Point or one of those. But for Unix, walking into town is quite possible, quite easy.
Absolutely. And before we launched this product, we did a lot of research. We have a great research team within Raymond Land, and they sat down with real estate agents, with clients, okay, with local people in Pattaya. And one of the things they asked was, not only can we in terms of location, because it is quite close, but can we have a minibus or a transport system, okay, to take us down into town? And of course we've done that on this project. Okay, so there'll be a number of, we haven't decided whether it's minibuses or tuk-tuks or but there will be transport to take people down to the beaches and to the shopping malls and so forth. But yes, if somebody wants to walk, that's also possible. But
it's not that far. I look at that site and think, well, that's a great little place to be, to just wander into town every now and again and wander back.
Less than 1,000 meters to the beach. Okay.
Well, I would think significantly less actually. If you're talking about Bali High, I mean, the pier there, I mean, it's really not very far at all. And so, if you're someone who goes to Walking Street in the night, I think, if you walk at a reasonable pace, I can't imagine it would take you much more than 5 minutes to walk to the Bali High Pier end of Walking Street from there. Yeah. I mean, I actually, when I do go out to Walking Street, I tend to park my car very close there, so I've got pretty good experience of...
So now you can actually park as well because you're an owner.
Well, indeed, yeah, I suppose I could look at it that way, but... obviously, we're talking about different levels of the market. How does the specification and within the units themselves compare to the other products that you've built?
I'll go to specification just now, but I just want to sort of just recap on the parking which you mentioned, and curiously that came up quite a lot in the research, because Pattaya residents with homes maybe outside of Pattaya, or sort of maybe half an hour, 45 driving distance from Pattaya, they wanted a safe place to be able to park their car when they were in Pattaya.
Right.
Okay, because parking is
it's a nightmare.
It's a big issue here, you know. So, and if you look at the prices of the units, people are saying, well, you know, I can buy a unit. Okay, I can park my car. Okay, I can walk down so the parking was a very, very important.
That's going to be a selling point now. It's but like Hong Kong, you can buy a parking space. So don't just get the parking space, get the condo with it.
Yeah,
they're not cheap in Hong Kong. When I used to live there, I mean, you would rent one for 3,000 Hong Kong dollars a month, which is £250 a month just for a parking space.
So yeah, the important point. Specifications. You've been to Zara, and I'll try and explain what the specs are. But what we've done is a typical Raymond Land specifications. Okay, 2.7 meter ceiling, quality tile floor. Basically, pretty much standard what you expect in a Raymond Land product, but in a more compact space. And that's really gives us the opportunity to offer these units at the same standard, the same DNA as Raymond Land, okay, but obviously at a much more affordable price.
Is it the same sort of interior, like the same people doing the same interiors as have done previous projects?
Many of the suppliers, are the same. Okay, but I can't pinpoint now and exactly say who's going to do what. Obviously, things will go up to tender, and we'll. But in terms of the quality of the materials, it'll be the same, similar standard as we're using in the other projects,
which have all been done very well. One thing that gets pointed out quite a lot when we do talk about the Wongamart area, a lot of people say that North Point is managed very well. Mm-hmm. So is that something you're going to look at as well? And you talked about a possible minibus or something taking people into town, so obviously that's going to be something you have to look at.
Well, management is crucial for the success of any condominium, and of course, and Pattaya and North Point is doing very well. Savills are managing the project, and although some teething problems at the beginning as with any other project, now the owners are extremely happy, and things are going very well there. We will obviously follow due process and put the management of the building to bid, and we'll see who manages it. But of course, it's a very important part of making sure the project is a success. That added, there are a few differences in terms of this project. Okay, with let's say North Point and Zara when it gets built, and that it's more of we're trying to address two major factors. One is F&B on the project, a deli, a food and beverage facility, which is right on the front, and that will be independently managed and leased to an operator. And then we have a resales and leasing office by the reception. Okay, so two very important factors, which again owners have constantly come back out and said, "Look, I'm buying this as an investment. I want to rent it out.
Yeah, how do I do it?
Can you help me?" And sure, we can help, but we're up in Bangkok, so we thought, okay, let's put a facility and let's put an office in there, which we'll either lease or manage it ourselves, or that's still to be determined. But where somebody buys a unit and they can have somebody there who can manage it, take care of it, make sure that it's clean, make sure it's rented out, make sure the tenants are paying, and so forth, and that makes life a lot easier for our buyers and investors.
That's a great point for an investor if someone's looking to invest in something and just say, right, that's it, I bought it, now take care of it.
Yeah. And the other, and I mentioned, of course, the F&B. One of the challenges we've had in some of the other projects is if I'm coming for a weekend, I don't want to be buying food and sort out. Or so that we now have F&B. Well, we have a facility which will be used initially as a sales office, and in the front, and there will be a deli there, and still to be confirmed exactly what type, but it'll be a food and beverage type facility where so clients coming down for weekends or people on a 1 month holiday or a long extended stay, they can use this facility without having to worry about cooking and so forth.
So it's getting more and more like a hotel, as we've talked about over the last projects that are going up. It's great to have something like that and have it as a good little place to stay if someone is coming for a month or a couple of months and rent it out and go through those facilities. Looking at facilities, we also talked a little touch on it. We're using a smaller part of the land for the actual building and a large part of the land for all the other amenities, the pools and the gardens and that sort of thing. What is planned?
Well, a lot, and we took a lot of time to go through the amenities that would make our buyers happy. Now, and as we say, the units are relatively compact. Okay, 35 square meters or 34.5 square meters is quite small for a unit even in Pattaya. So a lot of time will be spent outside of the unit. Okay, so what are people going to do? All right, okay, well, we've got a massive pool downstairs, a family pool, we've got a big lawn, there's obviously the deli and an F&B facility, there's jogging track, there's indoor and outdoor sports facility in terms of gym facility. I've got to go through the list. There's so many things. There's a Zen area upstairs, and there's a second pool upstairs, which is a more let's say a quieter area where you can read. There's a Zen area. There's a Tai Chi area. There's a lot of decking and relaxation areas and so on. There's meditation pavilions. I can't remember everything. I should have a list.
People should just come stay there and never move out.
Exactly.
You know, just sit there for a month and think, okay, we've got to go out now because I've got to go for a visa or something, or I've got my plane home. Could stay there for quite some time. Now, I've seen a lot of the advertising. Before we get into more bits of it, I've seen a lot of the advertising, and we're talking about money-wise. It says 880,000. I think that was the quote in one of these. If I can have a quick look, 880,000 for one of the units, which is the nice big red splash. 880,000, 4,000 baht a month. That's quite a nice way to buy something.
Yeah, it's easy to buy. Okay, now the 880,000 baht is our starting price for units on the east wing. Okay, so and that's for a studio unit. Okay, so and if I'm not mistaken, that works out about 40,000 baht per meter, 22 square meters. The payment plan. What we've been very successful in Zaire, and we're doing it now also in Unix, in giving very easy payment terms. Now, one of the great things about Raymond Land is that we have good access to finance, development finance, and that helps us. So we don't need to use, let's say, all consumer funds. Okay, for building. It's not dependent on consumer funds, let's say.
Right.
So that gives us the ability to give easy payment terms. So during the launch, and only during the launch, under Thai quota, you can buy a unit with just a 5% deposit. So 5% now, 5 in 3 months, and 5 in another 6 months, and then 15% installments over the construction period, which is it's not a construction period. 15% over 30 months, but that's only during the launch. Okay?
Right.
So if cash flow is an issue, or you just want to be careful with your cash flow, now is the time to buy. So and then for foreign quota, again, just 15% down and 15% over the 30 months. Okay, so very easy, very affordable, and I wouldn't say pretty much everybody, but quite a few people can afford to buy these prices.
Yes, very reasonable. And actually, while we're looking at prices there, we'll have a look at our weekly look at the finance market. If you've tuned in, it's Mix 88.5, our property update with Tim Gladwin, as always, as our guest, and an extra guest in today from Raymond Land, who's running through the new property that gets launched this week, Unix. You're tuned to Mix 88.5 property update here on PMTV, our weekly look at the Eastern Seaboard and its property. We'll be back with Tim Gladwin and PRS from Raymond Land in just a sec.
The Mix 88.5 Property Update, brought to you by the award-winning Tudor Group, developers of Tudor Villas and in the final stages of Tudor Court Condominium, Pratam Nak Soi 2. The Tudor Group, Thai lifestyle, European standards. The Mix 88.5 Property Update, brought to you by the award-winning Tudor Group, developers of Tudor villas and in the final stages of Tudor Court Condominium, Pratham Nack Soi 2. The Tudor Group, Thai lifestyle, European standards.
Now, if you're buying a property in the 880,000 these days, in US dollars, that's 28,576. In pounds, it's just a mere 18,000 pounds. And in euro, if anybody still wants to use that stuff, 21,285, which means the exchange rate today, 48.05 for the pound, which has dropped again. Are we just being tired with the euro brush?
Yeah, I just think it's the ongoing problems. It's been jumping around a little bit in that 47 to 50 range for a little while now, and I suspect that will continue. 0.7 of a change in a week, nothing really major, and like I say, I think for the foreseeable future we're going to see the pound in that 47 to 50 range.
Okay, the US dollar actually making a little bit of a rise, 30.79 today as opposed to 30.2 last week, so it's gone up half a cent, half a dollar, half a bit.
Well, it's been fighting back a little bit, the US dollar, getting back up towards 31 in recent weeks. So obviously last week was a little bit of an exception, but I think it's just recovered again a little bit.
And as always, we have no idea what's going on with the Aussie dollar because it's just dropped a little bit. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up. 31.61 today, and the euro, still people are obviously worried about that. It's dropped just a little bit, 41.3 as opposed to 41.6 last week. And just keep on listening to the Business Daily to find out the reason why that has been dropped. They're saying now that the credit rating has been dropped right the way across the Eurozone, which is not good for us poor little blokes in the UK.
Well, yeah, government bonds are obviously not what they once were, and there's clearly a level of unease now as to the future of government bonds from countries that were formerly absolutely trustworthy. So, it's an increasing issue, and I'm not sure quite where it will end, but I tend to feel that, like as I've said on many occasions, Asia is the future, and the West is continuing to face significant problems.
Yes, so keep on investing over here. So the launch is coming up. What does someone have to do again to be able to go? Just turn up?
They should register first.
Okay.
But
how do we register?
And you register at unixcondo.com.
Okay.
Okay, so that's UNIXX condo.com.
Okay, that's easy enough. And then just turn up and
get your queue number, and the sales and marketing team there will go through the units. We'll have models there, cut-throughs, sample boards, all the information, and somebody can book there and then.
Okay, and then it's a simple process. It's all going ahead, and 3 years completion?
Construction start Q3 September approximately 2012, and delivery December 14. So quite a quick build for this one.
It might be worth just confirming that if people are planning to book a unit, is booking fee 50,000 baht on Saturday?
For Thai quota, it's 25,000 baht. For foreign quota is 50,000 baht.
Okay, so it's easy enough. Now, we talked a little bit about the brand of the new hit brand or Unix. Is this going to be one like the Lofts was, where you got Lofts, Yenagar, Lofts, somewhere else, Lofts? Yeah. It is going to be that?
It is,
kind of thing?
We've a number of projects planned under the Unix brand. I believe the next one will be in Bangkok. And for sure there'll be more in Pattaya over the next years. But yeah, we've now got 3 major brands. Zyre, which is a beach resort type property, and we'll see more of those soon. Unix, which is more in this price range, so middle range, lower middle range price range, and then we've got the Lofts brands, which are quite specific, unique brands for urban lifestyle, so quite large units and quite high end. And then, of course, the individual brands, North Point, 185, and so on.
Some of those more luxurious things, just as a general overview of how things are going in the country rather than just down here, because you've got some very nice projects going down in Phuket as well. Are they still in demand, that sort of thing, where you're looking at very expensive villas and let's say Rajadamnary 183 as well, a rather art market condo?
Yeah, Rajadamnary is doing extremely well. 185 Rajadamary, and it's we launched that last year. It's I think we're on close to 50% now on that project. It's going well. Construction started, and it's going. There's a very specific buyer for 185 Rajadamary. I mean, the average price there is around 250,000 baht per square meter. So it's again Thai buyers. It's a legacy investment. Okay, families are buying quite very prominent Thai families. I won't mention names, but. Quite famous.
It's a great place to be, a good area.
And it's a great area. It's the last remaining freehold real estate on Rajadamary Road. So quite unique. I mean, of course, there's a number of other developers on that street, but it's leasehold. Now, again, we all know freehold is in perpetuity. Leasehold has a certain limitation.
Yeah, leasehold obviously takes away the legacy investment. Yeah, there's no point in leaving someone an ever-reducing term.
Yeah. And River is doing very, very well. We're up to about 80% on that project, handing over first quarter next year, end of the first quarter next year, and that's again another amazing product. We've overcome a lot of challenges in terms of the floods, okay, the crisis, the financial crisis, the red shirts, the yellow shirts, okay, the whole thing, and yet, okay, the project is still amazing, and I invite you to come up there one day and have a look for yourselves. It's
I did see the show suites in the very beginning. They were very nice, and I do love that picture. That's what I like to see. The picture there is with the duplex where you've got the glass wall right the way down the side of both upstairs and downstairs. Yeah. That looks.
If you go onto the website now, there's actually some photographs of those units finished,
okay.
and they're actually very stunning. Okay, we're very happy how that's turned out.
It unfortunately just reminds me of my time in Bangkok, and I still have fond memories of living in Bangkok, of being there. After a couple of years of being down here, I still have fond memories of Bangkok, and you're not a Bangkok person at all, Tim, are you?
No, the traffic bothers me. After my years in Hong Kong, and obviously before that in the UK, I got sick to death of traffic, and what I like about Pattaya, as I've said on the show before, I like to get in my car and drive rather than get in my car and sit in the traffic jam, and that's my main objection. I love a lot of aspects of Bangkok, whether it's some of the restaurants or the entertainment or the culture of the place. There's a lot of aspects of Bangkok that I like, but living there with all the hustle and bustle, traffic, not for me at this stage in my life now.
I always did enjoy the bits and pieces like that, but I must admit, I travel up there on a fairly regular basis now, and I do get a little bit annoyed at the traffic after being here for a couple of years. You're fairly new to town, so how are you coping and enjoying the Bangkok traffic?
I'm managing. I think the trick is to live close to work and make sure anything you do is in a short radius. I use public transport quite a bit. I mean, I go on the BTS, and I find it very convenient. Of course, later in the evening, taxis are fine, so I don't really have an issue. I lived in Dubai for many years, and while all the construction was going on there, traffic was quite bad there also. So maybe I've just got used to it. So yeah, I mean, Dubai, Bangkok is a great. I think it's a great city. There's a lot to do. We're enjoying it tremendously at the moment.
Yeah, I like Bangkok. I think it's a great place to be. Down here is nice as well. And when you get a little bit of traffic down here, people moan and whine about the traffic, but actually it's nothing like being stuck in Bangkok. It
isn't. But another thing, of course, Bangkok and Pattaya are not. Obviously the distance between the two is the same, but in terms of how easy it is to get here, it's fundamentally changed in recent years. We often talk about the motorways, and obviously there have been a few exceptions with the recent floods, but nevertheless, most of the time, 99% of the time, you can pretty much set your watch by how long it's going to take you to get into Bangkok nowadays, and it's not very long, and it's a stress-free journey.
Yeah.
So
planning is just
so don't plan too many meetings in the same day.
And we're planning around the traffic. I mean, get in early, okay, leave early, and you're set.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay, we're coming towards the end of this week's property update. If you want to know more about Unix, you can get onto unixcondo.com. That's UNIXXcondo.com, and the launch event is coming up this weekend at the Hilton. Very nice, and if you want to go to Bangkok, you can do that one there as well. Tim, as always, thanks for coming in. A pleasure to see you.
Thank you.
And Pieris from Raymond Lamb, thank you very much as well for coming to join us, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you.
And don't forget, if you want to see this on the TV, it's on Patio Mail TV, PMTV, every Friday. Otherwise, right here, same time, same place, next week for another edition of the Mix 88.5 Property Update. That's it for another week. We'll be back same time, same place next week for another edition of the Property Update, where we look at the Eastern Seaboard property market. All brought to you by Tudor Court, the developers of Tudor Villa, and in the last stages of Tudor Court Condominium. See you next week.
The Mix 88.5 Property Update, brought to you by the award-winning Tudor Group, developers of Tudor Villas and in the final stages of Tudor Court Condominium, Pratham Nack Soi 2. The Tudor Group, Thai lifestyle, European standards.